investments.
We're back with Republican Congressman Peter King. We're talking about ISIS, other terrorist groups, the growing danger in Yemen after the evacuation of all U.S. and British military forces. Congressman, less than a year ago, President Obama cited Yemen and Somalia, for that matter, as a place where U.S. counterterrorism strategy was working. You're a member of the Intelligence Committee. Were you getting good intelligence at that time as far as Yemen specifically was concerned? Because now it's clearly a disaster.
Yes, Wolf, when the president said that, either last August or September, when he made his first speech really on ISIS, we couldn't believe what he was saying. There was absolutely no evidence at all that Yemen was working. The reports were getting worse by the day. So I have no idea why the president said that. It was wrong to say it, not just because he was factually wrong, but that causes a loss of confidence by our allies in the region and encourages our enemy to see the president being so wrong on such a basic issue.
So what you're suggesting, Congressman, is that there wasn't an intelligence community failure. They foresaw what was going on in Yemen, but there was a failure on the part of the president and his top national security advisors who prepared those remarks?
Yes, I don't know if we were as positive that the Houthis would be as dangerous as they turned out to be. But even without them, the situation in Yemen was crumbling by the day. It was just a kite on the Arabian Peninsula was becoming more and more powerful. The government was becoming more and more weak. The embassy was basically in a very dangerous position. There was no way in the world that anyone could say that the system was working or that his policy was working in Yemen. It was clearly a failure as far back as last August or September. It's gotten worse since then, but even at that time, there was absolutely no basis for him saying what he did.
Congressman, you're one of 367 House members, Republicans and Democrats, who signed a letter to the president today citing grave concerns over the Iran nuclear negotiations. In the letter, it says, it says Congress must be convinced that its terms foreclose any pathway to a bomb. What specifically are you most concerned about right now? Because it looks like they may be on the verge of a deal that would eventually be approved by the UN Security Council.
What I'm concerned about is that, in effect, this agreement, at least the way it's being reported, would be locking in place a potential Iranian nuclear program, because it has a 10-year limit, and it allows Iran to go ahead with measures, with programs, which at the end of that 10 years, or even before then, if they decide to pull out, they would have the capacity within a very short period of time to have a nuclear weapon. So in effect, what we're doing, what the president seems to be doing, is giving them this almost guarantee that within 9 to 10 years, if they wish, they can pull out, or even before then, they're still going to be going ahead with production, which it really, to me, can only lead toward a nuclear weapon. And so I don't see the plus in this at all, and it, in effect, is given almost immunity to Iran, and that's why you find such a large number. This is not partisan, an overwhelming number of Democrats and Republicans, in addition, of course, to the Israeli government. But right here in the U.S., in the U.S. Congress, the House and the Senate, you'll find overwhelming concern about this agreement.
I want to get your reaction to your fellow Republican Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, announcing today his candidacy for president of the United States. You put out a statement suggesting you likened him to, what, a carnival barker. What did you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that we have very, very complex issues facing the country today, and he goes out of his way to oversimplify. For instance, to say that Obamacare, we could end Obamacare in effect by not funding it and shutting down the government is absolutely wrong. It's a wrong signal to send. We need intelligent debate in this country. Now, Ted Cruz may be an intelligent person, but he doesn't carry out an intelligent debate. He oversimplifies, he exaggerates, and he basically led the Republican Party over the cliff in the fall of 2013. He's shown no qualifications, no legislation being passed, doesn't provide leadership, and he has no real experience. So to me, he's just a guy with a big mouth and no results.
Would you support him if he were the GOP nominee?
I just hope that day never comes. I'll jump off that bridge when we come to it.
But you're leaving open that possibility after you said what you said? Is that what you're saying?
No, well, it'd be very difficult. Again, maybe he can go on the road to Damascus. He can have a complete conversion. But the way it is right now, it would be very difficult to support Ted Cruz.
When are you going to announce whether or not you're running for president?
I'm still looking. I'll be in New Hampshire next week. I'll be up there in Nashua, I believe, on April 16th and 17th. And again, I'm not kidding myself. It's not going to be easy. But if the opening is there, And if not, I'll just take advantage of this opportunity to appeal to to me, the realistic wing of the party, the pro-defense, Ronald Reagan wing of the Republican Party, the true conservatives, not the counterfeit conservatives like Ted Cruz, to prevent people like Cruz and Rand Paul from hijacking the nomination.
You don't like Rand Paul either, is that right?
Well, his views, I understand personally he's a very nice guy, but his views are so isolationist, and the world we face today, I think it would be taking us back to the 1930s.
He calls himself a non-interventionist, not an isolationist. You buy that?
No, I call him an isolationist. His views would basically remove the U.S. from having a real role to play in the world. And his mindset, when you look at things he said over the years, in effect blaming the United States for the problems around the world, somehow that it's our fault. To me, that's a bad mindset for the Commander-in-Chief of the United States to be going into office with.
Any of those fellow Republican potential candidates likable to you? You like any of them?
Oh, sure. Listen, I'm not that tough a guy to get along with. I think Jeb Bush, Scott Walker, they all, both of them certainly show ability. John Kasich, I served in the House with John Kasich. No, we have a lot of talent out there. I just don't see Ted Cruz and Rand Paul being part of that talent pool.
Peter King, the congressman from New York, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
You'll let us know when you make that decision. We'll, of course, want to cover that.